So, John, all the way from Coventry in your Santa hat, do you want to start?
Oh, okay. Rather than my own stuff, I've got some Christmassy things.
Yeah.
Firstly, why? Excuse me.
Mince pie.
I waited till you took a bite and then.
Yeah, right. This being recorded, got it right. Okay. Why has Father Christmas got 3 gardens? I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a clue. It's 3 words. I'm going to give you the first word. If anybody can work out the
I've got it. I've got it.
No, don't yet.
I've got it.
No, hang about. I'm going to give you the first word. If you can get the answer right, it's guaranteed to make you laugh. Right, are you ready? Father Christmas got 3 gardens, so he can, all together now, ho.
Ho.
Told you to make you laugh. Ho, ho. Oh, all right. Okay. In the workhouse, Christmas Day. It is Christmas Day in the workhouse, and the cold, bare walls are bright with garlands of green and holly. The place is a pleasant sight, for with clean-washed hands and faces in a long and hungry line, the paupers sit at the tables, for this is their hour to dine. And the guardians and their ladies, although the wind is east, have come in their furs and wrappers to watch their charges feast, to smile, be condescending, put pudding on paupers' plates, to be hosts at the workhouse banquet they've paid for with the rates. Oh, the paupers are meek and lowly with their thank ye kindly mums. So long as they fill their stomachs, what matter from whence it comes? But one of the old men mutters and pushes his plate aside. Great God, he cried, but it chokes me. But this is the day she died. The guardians gazed in horror. The master's face went white. Did a pauper refuse their pudding? Could their ears believe them aright? Then the ladies clutched their husbands, thinking the man would die, struck by a bolt or something by an outraged one on high. But the pauper sat for a moment, then rose mid a silence grim, for the others had ceased to chatter and tremble in every limb. And he looked at the guardians' ladies, then eyeing their lords, he said, I eat not the food of villains whose hands are foul and red, whose victims cry for vengeance from their dank, unhallowed graves. He's drunk, said the workhouse master, or else he's mad and raves. Not drunk nor mad, cried the pauper, but only a hunted beast, who, torn by the hounds and mangled, declines the vulture's feast. I care not for the guardians, and I won't be dragged away. Just let me have this fit out. It's only on Christmas Day the black past comes to goad me and prey on my burning brain. I'll tell you the rest in a whisper. I swear I won't shout again. Keep your hands off. Just you. Hear me right out to the end. You come here to see how the paupers the season of Christmas spend. You come here to watch us feeding as they watch a captured beast. Hear why a penniless pauper spits on your paltry feast. You think I would take your bounty and let you smile and think you're doing a noble action with the parish's meat and drink? Where's my wife, you traitors? The poor old wife you slew. Yes, by God, above us, my Nance was killed by you. Last winter, my wife lay dying, starved in a filthy den. I'd never been to the parish, but I came to the parish then. I swallowed my pride in coming, for ere the ruin came, I held up my head as a trader and I bore a spotless name. I came to the parish craving bread for a starving wife, bread for a woman who'd loved me through 50 years of life. And what do you think they told me, mocking my awful grief? That the house was open to us, but they wouldn't give out relief. I slunk to the filthy alley. It was a cold, raw Christmas Eve. Bakers' shops were open, tempting a man to thieve. But I clenched my fists together, holding my head awry. So I came to her, empty-handed, and mournfully told her why. And I told her the house was open. She'd heard the ways of that. For her bloodless cheeks went crimson. Up in her rag, she sat crying, "Bide the Christmas here, John. We've never had one apart. I think I can bear the hunger, but the other would break my heart." All through that eve, I watched her, holding her hand in mine, praying the Lord and weeping till my lips were as salt as brine. And I asked her once if she hungered, and as she answered, "No," the moon shone in at the window, set in a wreath of snow. Then the room was bathed in glory, and I saw in my darling's eyes the faraway look of wonder that comes when the spirit flies. And her lips were parched and parted, and her reason came and went, for she raved of our home in Devon, where our happiest years were spent. And the accents, long forgotten, came back to the tongue once more. She talked like the country lass I'd wooed by the Devon shore. Then she rose to her feet and trembled and fell in rags and moaned, "Oh, give me a crust, I'm famished, for the love of God," she groaned. I rushed from the room like a madman and flew to the workhouse gate, crying, "Food for a dying woman!" And the answer came, "Too late." They drove me away with curses. Then I fought with a dog in the street and tore from the mongrel's clutches a crust he was trying to eat. Back through the filthy by-lanes, back through the trampled slush, up the crazy garret wrapped in an awful hush. My heart sank down at the threshold and I paused with a sudden thrill, for there, in the silvery moonlight, my Nance lay, cold and still. Up in the blackened ceiling, up to the blackened ceiling, the sunken eyes were cast, and I knew on those lips all bloodless my name had been the last. She'd called for her absent husband. Oh God, if I'd have known! Called in vain, in anguish, had died in that den alone. Yes, in this land of plenty lay a loving woman dead, cruelly starved and murdered for the loaf of the parish bread. And yonder gate last Christmas I craved for a human life, and you, who would feast us paupers, what of my murdered wife? There, get ye gone to your dinners. Don't mind me in the least. Think of the happy paupers eating your Christmas feast. And when you recount their blessings in your smug, parochial way, say what you did for me too, only last Christmas Day. Christmas Day in the Workhouse by George Sims.
All right. Thank you, John, for the happy Victorian Christmas to start us off. Steve, do you want to go next? I'm working across my screen from top line, then middle line, and bottom line.
You're muted, Steve.
That's better. I'm going to read just one poem, and the first section you may have heard before, but it's been extended. So if you hear the first few lines and they sound slightly familiar, then it is extended. So there will be some new lines at the end. The idea of the poem, it's about a kind of painting party The idea is to have a couple of voices, one saying one thing and one saying another. So hopefully you kind of get it as it goes along. Creativity. The gods agreed, the foolish ones, upon a time and place to meet, upon a purpose and an aim, create a world in paint on canvas. Preparation started with a painting party manifesto, many hands creating art and not just two as usual, an echo of the studio approach of old, where masters would instruct their eager fawning students, delegate the boring work like mixing paint, or pouring wine or drawing leaves and other objects, leaving faces, naked bodies, coats of armour to the artist. But in painting party, none of this old-fashioned hierarchy will apply, and all can pour, prepare and paint, get drunk or not, and overall decide together when a painting's done or dead, and all opinions will be valid. That was what was said, but when the day arrived, disaster struck. A headstrong god decided in his greater wisdom, only he could tell the party crowd the truth of how a painting should be painted. Battle started, no one won, and what was left behind when all the dust had settled down was this, whatever this account might be, a manifesto, possibly. But wait a second, all of us were entertained, all of us a perfect mix of artists and non-artists, each discarding preconceptions in a riotous or somewhat so engagement with the avant-garde, constructive or destructive. Well, we'll never know, for at the end a youngster covered all of this in unaesthetic sub-graffiti. Still, there was a perfect moment, tantalizing in its beauty, something that could never be achieved alone, and happily there is a record of this artwork in its many vibrant states, beginning with a solo effort, ending in communal bliss. 4 photographs, I have them here. The first is Mark's. He started this. It's full of colour, light and bright and sensuous. I love the way the yellow background shines behind the orange lines that weave across a modulated picture surface, smiling, shouting, "Look at me." The second piece is more communal, light and brightness modified by urgent colour interactions, marks, not marks, encroaching on each other in a riotous assembly of the dispossessed, and black appears to set it off, non-colour letting colour off for being far too frivolous, and colour laughing in its face. The third attempt sees yellow shine. It was a background, now it's more emblazoned over other colours. White is acting first lieutenant, rounding up the troops to follow Major Yellow's marching band. And what a noise these fellows make, and black a part of this parade. The final stage is fireworks. The rings of plastic glasses silhouetted on a crazy canvas, scratched by all of us, and blue returns to make a mark, a marriage with a glowing partner, wedding bells and bright confetti flutter down the paint escarpment. Bits of things that don't belong are happily outrageous with the celebrating entourage. We did consider, foolish gods, restaging this spontaneous activity and tried our best, but all our efforts, you can guess, were doomed to failure. That's it.
Thank you very much, Steve. That's good. Vivian.
Okay, I'm allowed 3, aren't I? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine. I've got 3. The first one is an ode, okay, and the second 2 concern a visit to Italy that I had recently. And we went to we did Pompeii and Herculaneum and all that, and I was quite struck by both of those, but in different ways, and I wrote a poem about each of them respectively. So I'm going to do my ode first and then the other 2, which will become clear. My first one is called Ode to the Sky. Thank you for being there, for protecting us from the dangers lurking out in space. Along with the clouds, you keep us warm, covering our little planet in a sea of blue. Our safety blanket, we know we are secure with you wrapped around us all, able to live and breathe through your protection. You are transparent. We see stars, planets, comets, and meteors from other worlds. Above the clouds, you are stunning, seeing you in all your glory, nothing to impede the view. You change from day to night, darken so we can no longer see you, but the stars and the moon can still be viewed. So we know you are only hiding till the dawn comes. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is about Pompeii, and I called it, "We had no time to stand and stare." We had no time to stand and stare at the city that was once a bustling, thriving place. Designed with tourists in mind, we were moved like a regiment from point A to point B. Seeing this, seeing that. No time to stop, drink in surroundings. Couldn't imagine people doing everyday tasks. It felt like an empty shell. Nothing left to draw me in. Any human connection was long gone. Maybe that's why Pompeii's ruins left me cold, like the ashes that covered the bodies from a volcano still active today. Okay. That was my Pompeii one. This is my Herculaneum one, and I just called this one Herculaneum. As I say, it struck me very differently. This did it for me. Finally, the history made sense. The atmosphere was present. You could see where the sea wall had been, sense the fear of the people awaiting rescue. The beach, their final haven, before being swamped by volcano or sea. All traces of them wiped out. Preserved houses still stood, as if waiting for their residents to return. Instead, nearly 2,000 years later, footsteps of a different kind walk the streets. Look in houses and shops. Vesuvius still dominates, an ever-present threat of repeating the same performance as before. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian.
Thank you.
Why did you have different reactions to the different places? Because
I think it was because Pompeii is, I don't know if anybody's here has been there, but it's so touristy. And for me, it just kind of detracted from the magic. There was people talking on their phones and stalls selling things. And I thought, hang about, it's not about that. It's about the people that died that was important to me. And to me, that wasn't being recognised. And that was the difference, I think.
When I went with my sweet little daughter, she made the comment, "Oh, it's about time the volcano erupted again." I thought, thank you, Emma.
Well, I hope it doesn't, but it's very very much in evidence. I was standing in Pompeii and I just looked behind me and there was Vesuvius right there. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's that close. So you can see how the people felt, you know. Anyway, that was just my reaction to it anyway. Okay.
My brother lives in Naples, and when I went to Herculaneum, he told me this story that there was the authorities planned a drill for all the because there's a lot of housing estates near Herculaneum, as you probably saw.
Yeah.
They just edge onto the ruins, and they told all the residents we're going to have a surprise drill at something like 6 o'clock in the morning. So we'll knock on all the doors, and you just run out and go to a gathering spot, and then you'll go back home. And then it happened, and when all the doors were knocked on, everyone came out and they'd all bake cakes and things like that. And they all went to the gathering point and had a party, and the officials said, "This is not how it's supposed to be."
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you.
Nick from the cold steps of Bromley.
Yeah, I've been channeling my inner Yeti. So I've been writing Christmas poems, which is something I never do. But this year I've been inspired somehow. This one, I was thinking of the woman downstairs who's facing her first Christmas since she lost her husband. And this is called That Time of Year. It's a time of year when you reach out in the dark into the empty space that once more breaks your heart. But then those important memories he left you to hold always come back, tinged with red, green, and gold. Downstairs is the tree that you put up alone because you needed to let life back into your home. On the front door, a wreath hangs to welcome the season. Above the grey clouds, bright stars stud the heavens. And the one that you wished on so long ago still bathes your world in its cool afterglow. And although the time for wishing is long past, the wishes it granted then still hold you fast. So I thought I'd write a happy one. She's bubbling under. I really need to wear a cheerful grin to complete the happiness I feel within. I need to display my inner joy. I need a rocket ship I can deploy to lift me high above the earth into the boundless realms of mirth. All I did was decorate a tree that's plastic with baubles made of glass that look fantastic. I've done my shopping, heated mulled wine, and now I'm feeling that everything is just fine. But I'm just a little too content to display this strangely heaven-sent happiness by dancing down the hall like every team just won at football. We all won $1 million on the lottery, and you showed me your pottery, of which you're justly proud. It's that time of year when you're allowed to soar above the sky and repeat after me, have a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And this is really why I'm wearing the abominable snowman costume. I'm just gonna go for that. I was trying to get blue into it, but my mouth won't quite get round putting blue into the middle of abominable. I'm sure it's doable, but I needed to practice for a while. I clearly haven't. This is called Suburban Grotto. And I was walking past a house down at Coney Hall, and they got the bay window and they decorated it. They basically built a grotto behind it. This is called Suburban Grotto. Mr. Snow and Mrs. Snow look out on the road from inside the front room where it's already snowed. Surrounded by the crisp surface of clean white sheets, with no footprints to show where they entered the room, they stand together, rock solid in silence and peace, dreaming of childhoods spent outside in the street with carrots and coals and closely packed flakes that warmed hearts and chilled hands to the bone when they'd visit us briefly and fade away in the dawn.
Thank you very much, Nick. Very good. Heather.
Right, I have two, if that's okay. One of my own. The first one I'll read, it's by a Palestinian poet called Rafat El-Aria. Celebrities have been reading his poem online, a lot of different celebrities, because he died just a few days after this was written, and he died last week. His house was bombed. He died and the rest of his family. And his poem is called If I Must Die. If I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and think for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale. And that's his one. My one is nowhere as beautiful as his one. And this is based on a true story, a friend of a friend. And she told me the stories which inspired me to write this poem. It's called 6 Words. 6 words, 6 words. Such weight must these words have carried when travelling from the desk clerk's lips to your now fully wakened ears, when she saw your foreign name and gasped, "What do we call you, sir?" Oh, the shame and humiliations which must have vexed your veins. So when those 6 words with their veiled blames and accusations coursed through your blood and battered your soul, no matter your fame, titles, gifts of gold, for today, now in this place of the high-browed, where many come to hear you speak, admired from down below, those 6 words will still ring in your soul, stains loud in your memory, despite your privileged paleness that once guarded you so. But for the country of your birth, in this place now of your country, enemy's country, those 6 words now sit aglow. Still your pains are not as pained as they from a long, long time ago, like that of the confused child, stripped of all its giggles, not knowing where his father goes, his mother now quaking beneath a harsh Polish snow, or my own ancestors of old that sailed across wide waters shackled from head to toe, not knowing where they go. Oh, such 6 words will one day float far, far away where history is stowed. So mind not the curious glare at your Russian name in this American fair, for tomorrow has already come. Guess what? A new horror has already stolen your show. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Heather. Let's move it. Sue. Sue, do you want to read next?
Lovely. Yes, I will. I've got 3 poems to read. First one's about shoes. It's called Fitting In. I went through phases, miserable, buying shoes which did not fit. I tried them on and walked about, told myself that they would do, but they would not. Too tight or loose, too dark, too sad, too shiny neat, too fancy grand. I'd take them home, respectable, and never take them from their box. Until I found my perfect shoes, quite ugly, flat, annoying shoes which fitted like a glove, bright communist red, a scarlet shock. I wanted their vermilion truth. Those shoes I loved, but they were something that I could not buy, for I had nothing like them in my life, and nothing back then I could safely call them by. Okay, this next one is called Unfolded. I open for you like a map, unfold myself, spread out, reveal my creases, contours, weather faded, watermarked, old colors, subtle, beautiful, rare chart of days and hours, of sun and stars and shadows, meadows, mountains, forests, seas, and all of these I share with you, for nothing must be lost. Each place a welcome home, each precious line a journey, not quite over yet. And there's a winter poem. I think I might have read it before, but yeah. Don't eat the seeds. It's for Persephone. For winter always wants to drag you back. Black months when shadows take on terrifying shapes. Dark streets are mazed and barren. Angles blurred in that half light. The stone-faced moon quite pitiless. Don't enter that abyss. But wait upon the spring, and sun your fragile wings upon my windowsill. Grow tall again under a faultless sky. He took your joy, obscured your shine. I never liked him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sue. That's very good. Enjoyed that. Michael, do you want to go next?
Keeping warm. In longest nights this dying year, I want to snuggle up with you. Hot water bottles not required, joined as if by superglue. What if there's winter's frost around? We'd sleep together safe and sound. And though it strangely odd may seem, we both might have the same one dream. As happy children, we could stand in a winter wonderland, maybe hear carols from afar, or make a wish upon a star. Deep in your eyes, oh lovely sight, I'd watch the splendors of the night. This one's 2023 carol. O little town of Bethlehem, how sad we see you lie. No tourists now will visit you for fear that they might die. The West Bank and Jerusalem may harbor Muslim jihadists. It needs just one to cause mayhem. And who knows which are terrorists? Here, autumn golds have turned to rust. There, mortals quickly turn to dust. If arms and tunnels are below, children and hostages as shields, in Gaza hospitals we know a Hamas fighter rarely yields. Will Islam's cry forever be to wipe small Israel off the map? Shout from the river to the sea, and Zionists can take the rap. War on Gaza, say Al Jazeera. Who started it? They should be clearer. I sometimes wonder what I'd do if I were Ben Netanyahu. Ismail Haniyeh in Qatar, fermenting trouble from afar. This massacre of the innocents by both sides really makes no sense. Let's pray the killing soon will cease and there may be a lasting peace.
Have some music. Thank you very much, Michael. I think we can all agree with that last sentiment. Peace.
Yeah, I just to comment that I've now written 778 poems.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes. Keep going.
yeah.
Mohammed, what's it?
Hello. Good evening, and yes, good evening to you. Good evening to everyone, and it's good to be back. I was missing last month, but I did send in 2 poems, and it was great to hear them being read out by you, Peter. Thank you for that. I was listening on YouTube, and everyone sounded pretty damn good. So, all right. First one is Bill is the news. Bill, the guy with the newspaper, hawker, harking the hearties. Bill, slow, fast, trying to know. Bill of the Broadway's show. Catford Broadway with bright billboards and glass doorways. Windows, posters. He walks past, looked at by the theater owl. Bill paying his monstrous bill, 60,000 times checking to see his rights. Splosh, splash, splash, walks through all the rain accumulations. Billy Goat checking the meter, City AM and Evening Standard. Bill is the still feet of news. Banner and byline, bread and beat. Wall Street, Fleet Street. Walk my bulletins, Fleet Street. Bill, belling folk about the headlines. Off the streamed news, girlfriends came and went as the good motor shook his mouth. Bill, shaken with simulacrums, the molar and moolah of news, north, east, west, south. Thank you. It's me. I'm Billy. It's autobiographical. I always walk past Catford Broadway Theatre when I'm going to work, and there's an owl etched in the stone, and I always think it's a protective owl protecting the theatre. Next one is BZ. BZ. Busy, busy, the livelong day. So many things come my way. Motors in the BZ roads, foxes in the cold are toads. Talking my way through. So many things to do. Far in the past is lazy May, too tied up now, and the sky is gray. And another little one, get cold. It's going to get cold in the middle of the night, outside the pane and frame, no bare feet walk on the curbs. Well before December, like last year, now that leaves have mostly fallen and the sweepers have swept them. The river water is icy and flows north to Deptford. The buildings at the wharf are cold to the touch, especially now. So it's, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, what does Boris say? Boris is a little reflective today. I would like to say from my grotto that I feel like I've won the lotto. I've decided that Rishi is rather wishy-washy, and here I sit as Santa with my Fanta. Let's call for a snap election and bring back some of my own depression. I feel like Caesar. Enjoyed the hearing, but now flailing, fearing, and tearing. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Boris.
It's all right, Peter. It's just it comes to me very naturally.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mohammed.
Thank you. I really enjoyed. Thank you.
I'm going to read a couple of poems by Thomas Hardy. The Darkling Thrush. I leant upon a coppice gate when frost was spectre grey, and winter's dregs made desolate the weakening eye of day. The tangled vine stems scored the sky like strings of broken lyres, and all mankind that haunted nigh had sought their household fires. The land's sharp-featured seemed to be the century's course outlent, his crypt the cloudy canopy, the wind his death lament. The ancient pulse of germ and birth was shrunken, hard and dry, and every spirit upon earth seemed fervorless as I. At once a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead, in a full-hearted evensong of joy illimited. An aged thrush, frail, gaunt, and small, in blast-beruffled plume, had chosen thus to fling his soul upon the glowing gloom. So little cause for carolling of such ecstatic sound was written on terrestrial things afar or nigh around, that I could think there trembled through his happy good-night air some blessed hope whereof he knew and I was unaware. And the oxen. Christmas Eve and 12 of the clock. Now they are all on their knees, an elder said as he sat in a flock by the embers in hearthside ease. We pictured the meek, mild creatures where they dwelt in their strawy pen, nor did it occur to one of us there to doubt they were kneeling then. So fair a fancy few could weave in these years. Yet I feel, if someone said on Christmas Eve, come see the oxen kneel in the lonely barton by yonder coombe our childhood used to know, I should go with him in the gloom, hoping it might be so.
I thought Hardy was a great poet and a novelist, but he was a miserable git.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jude the Obscure gets about as dreadful as it can be.
Yes.
Yeah, on the same lines as Millen the Floss by Eliot.
Yeah.
You know, which is the worst sad ending, I don't know. But yeah, he's a great poet.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've done the first round, so shall we have a break of 5-10 minutes to?
Yeah.
I won't be coming back.
Oh, that's good.
Neither will I. I'm
Yeah.
going to just leave it there. Yes. So happy
Peter,
Christmas, everyone.
I'm going to
Happy
have
Christmas.
I'm going to have to bow out as well.
All right.
But have a wonderful Christmas every single and a lovely New Year. And I see you
Yes.
in 2024.
Yeah. Lovely.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
I think I ought to go because I'm enjoying it, but I've got so much to do. When's the next meeting?
If we're live at Ruskin House on the first Friday of the month of January, and then this Zoom meeting will be on the third Friday of January.
Third Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, the Zoom.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do. Yeah.
Right.
But thanks. I've enjoyed it today.
Okay, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to.
But I better go because
Right.
yeah, there's so
hope to
much to get on with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope to see you soon.
Right. Oh, God bless.
Bye. Take care. Happy Christmas.
Yeah, and you. Bye.
Recording. Roman wall blues. Over the heather the wet wind blows. I've lice in my tunic and a cold in my nose. The rain comes pattering out of the sky. I'm a walled soldier, I don't know why. The mist creeps over the hard grey stone. My girl's in Tungria, I sleep alone. Aulus goes hanging around her place. I don't like his manners, I don't like his face. Piso's a Christian, he worships a fish. There'd be no kissing if he had his wish. You gave me a ring, but I diced it away. I want my girl and I want my pay. When I'm a veteran with only one eye, I shall do nothing but look at the sky. And the unknown citizen to JS07M378. This marble monument is erected by the state. He was found by the Bureau of Statistics to be one against whom there was no official complaint, and all the reports on his conduct agree that in the modern sense of an old-fashioned word, he was a saint. For in everything he did, he served the greater community. Except for the war, till the day he retired, he worked in a factory and never got fired, but satisfied his employers, Fudge Motors Inc. Yet he wasn't a scab or odd in his views, for his union reports that he paid his dues. Our report on his union shows it was sound. And our social psychology workers found that he was popular with his mates and liked to drink. The press are convinced that he brought a paper every day, and that his reactions to advertisements were normal in every way. Policies taken out in his name prove that he was fully insured, and his health card shows he was once in hospital, but left it cured. Both producers' research and high-grade living declare he was fully sensible to the advantage of the instalment plan and had everything necessary to the modern man, a phonograph, a radio, a car and a Frigidaire. And researchers into public opinion are content that he held the proper opinions for the time of year. When there was peace, he was for peace. When there was war, he went. He was married and added 5 children to the population, which our eugenist says was the right number for a parent of his generation. And our teachers report that he never interfered with their education. Was he free? Was he happy? The question is absurd. Had anything been wrong, we certainly should have heard. So, W.H. Auden.
Good bloke.
John,
Yeah, all right. In the 1950s and early 1960s, there were very few poetry reading places in London, probably around the country as well. But the one that I always used to go to was the Crown and Greyhound pub in Dulwich on one Wednesday in the month. And we used to get all the top poets from the country performing there, including T.S. Eliot and John Betjeman. So I've got a couple of their poems, really. Have you got time? Right, here we go. We'll do the Eliot one first, which is...
we've got time as long as it's not the wasteland.
Oh, yeah, oh God, bloody hell no. Journey of the Magi. A cold coming we had of it, just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey, the ways deep, the weather sharp, in the very dead of winter. And the camels gold, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes and terraces and the silken girls bringing sherbet. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out and the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile and the towns unfriendly, the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears, saying that this was all folly. Then at dawn, we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a watermill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky, and an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door, dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information. So we continued and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again. But set down this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence and no doubt. I have seen birth and death, but had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our palaces, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death. And then Betjeman, Christmas. The bells of waiting Advent ring. The tortoise stove is lit again, and lamp oil lights across the sky. The night has caught the streaks of winter rain in many a stained glass window sheen, from Crimson Lake to Hooker's Green. The holly in the windy hedge and round the manor house, the yew, will soon be stripped to deck the ledge, the altar, font, and arch and pew, so that the villagers can say, That church looks nice on Christmas Day. Provincial public houses blaze and corporation tramcars clang. On lighted tenements I gaze where paper decorations hang, and bunting in the red town hall says, "Merry Christmas to you all." And London shops on Christmas Eve are strung with silver bells and flowers as hurrying clerks the city leave, to pigeon-haunted classic towers and marbled clouds go scudding by the many-steepled London sky. And girls in slacks remember dad, and oafish louts remember mum. And sleepless children's hearts are glad, and Christmas morning bells say, "Come." Even to shining ones who dwell safe in the Dorchester Hotel. And is it true? And is it true, this most tremendous tale of all, seen in a stained glass window's hue, a baby in an ox's stall, the maker of the stars and sea become a child on earth for me? And is it true? For if it is, no loving fingers tying strings around those tissued flipperies, the sweet and silly Christmas things, bath salts, inexpensive scent and hideous tie, so kindly meant, no love that in a family dwells, no caroling in frosty air, nor all the steeple shaking bells can with this simple truth compare, that God was man in Palestine and lives today in bread and wine. Boom.
Yes, thank you very much. You read those very well.
Thank you.
Hamid, do you want to read? Do you want to follow that?
Yes, I'd like to follow that, but I'm a little partial to having a mince pie.
Would you like us to come
After-
back to you when you've eaten your mince pies?
No, I'm just kidding you that I can't proceed. I can actually. It's just one bite. Now I'll finish it right after my recitation. So this one is called This Special Bee Day. And it's about the birthday of two friends on the same day, on the 13th of December. And I believe Anne Smith, you know Anne, our Anne Smith, I think she's also got the same birthday, 13th of December. This special bee day, read about it. Birthday and the friends, teacher and the council fellow. Steps in the right lanes. Talk you, out of minus. Day of birth of babies, born to be subjects of art. Shoeing rain, fire, ink, pain, bringing in the bonus. B-Day, BD, BD pals, into pounds, yen, dollar. Way above graze and sprain, a pleasant shot to the brains. And the next one is Cherry, sir. Cherry, sir, cherry. There was one lived in a car. No sherbet and wealth for that particular one. Not strawberries for the cake. Cherry, cherry. That's the one. Then we lord the fast cars. First cherry cake. Cherry, sir. Okay, and after that, the last one is Christmas is Coming. It's by Anonymous. Someone anonymous wrote this, and it's Christmas is Coming. Christmas is coming. The geese are getting fat. Please to put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. And Sting was singing this song. A soul cake, please good missus, a soul cake, apple, a cherry, pie and cherry, any good thing to make us all merry. A soul cake, please good missus, a soul cake, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
I think it's an apple, a plum, a pear, and a cherry. Apple, a pear, a plum, or a cherry. Anything, any good thing to make us all merry. I think the line goes like that. I'm suddenly improvising something else. An apple, a pear, a plum, or a cherry. Yeah, I got it.
Right. Nick, do you want to follow that? Musical.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can do musical. Never mind.
I like the Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's it looks an awful lot brighter in the camera than it really is. I haven't actually set it on fire. But I have written a sonnet. So this is sonnet number 25, Kids Myth Time. See what I did there? Horrible pun. And it's got a little epigraph. I always want to say epitaph, which is not the same thing at all. Or yeah, anyway, it's got a little epitaph, epigraph. Benjamin Zephaniah. I write for the unloved. I connect with them. All I want is kids for Christmas. All I need is innocence, joy and love and expectation, fresh baked bread and cinnamon. Wide eyes trying to stay awake as snowmen hover above the page. Sleigh bells on the edge of hearing as Mum and I turn off the light. I decorate the Christmas tree and buy my treats from Sainsbury. Play Christmas hits on vinyl discs. Close my eyes and make a wish. All I need is kids for Christmas and someone to share moments with. Of course, kids aren't just for Christmas. It's rather important not to just give them back in January.
I say I'm on the checkouts at Sainsbury's, and so we get all different ages and all different nationalities going through. And whenever it's a mother with a reasonably newborn baby, I'll start going like this, peekaboo and all this sort of thing to them. And I'll say, how old is your this child? And they'll say, oh, it's 8 months or something, and I'll say, oh, damn, it's too late. For the first 6 months, you can take it back and still keep the nectar points, but now it's too late. It's after 6 months. You can't. It's fine. But then my mum on my 60th birthday said, John, I'm going to let you into a little secret about being a parent. Being a parent, the first 60 years are the worst. After you've been a parent for 60 years, you're not bothered anymore because the Alzheimer's sets in, and then it's the kids start doing the worrying, and they are terrified that their inheritance, which they obviously are hoping to get when you kick the bucket, you are going to rewrite your will and leave it to the local Cats Protection League. So they're going to be really on their best behavior with you for the rest of your life. So, and it's your opportunity to finally get your revenge on them after 60 years. Yeah. But anyway, what's green and likes to eat porridge? No. Oh, Moldilocks. Moldilocks' best friend is called Snow White. And Snow White goes to the photographers to pick up some photographs that she put in there to be printed. But when she gets there, they haven't been developed yet. So what does Snow White sing while she's waiting for her photographs?
Someday my prince will come.
Yeah, well done.
I've read that Christmas cracker joke as well.
Well done.
Thank you.
I just spend all my time on the checkouts now, just telling jokes, to the customers, really, because most of the supermarkets, they become self-service and things like that, haven't they? If they want to meet a human being, and as the things go through, anything that's it reminds me of the joke about it. So if it's eggs going through, I'll sort of say, what do Spanish farmers shout at their chickens to encourage them?
Olé.
Olé. What do you call a Spaniard comes out of hospital feeling much better?
No.
Manuel.
Oh.
And and what about the two Spanish firemen? One's called Jose, and the other one's called Hoseby. Terminator's favourite English football club? Aston Villa, baby. And so it goes on, and then I end up with, if there isn't a big queue, I'll sort of say at the end, as they don't, I'll say, well, okay, you've done so well, you've qualified for the I've just finished my shopping, knock, knock joke, knock, knock.
Who's
Who's
there?
there?
Mahatma.
Mahatma who?
Well, Mahatma Coke, please, just finish your shopping, I'm going home. And so it goes on, and hopefully it puts a smile on some of the people's faces. Some of the, especially for some of the older people, whether they've never been married or they're widowers or they're widows. It may be the only social contact they get of the day.
And some of the kids who never had a father, so missed out on all the dad jokes when they were young.
Absolutely. Well, and what's really good is that I'm only in for a few hours on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and I can repeat the same joke again and again, the same jokes again and again, because they'll say to you, oh, you ought to be a stand-up comic. I said, no, I'm a sit-down one. You're the ones doing the standing up, and I can say the same jokes the following week because most people have forgotten by that following week what it was. The only people who really suffer are the other cashiers who are within earshot of me, who might get 3 hours worth of the same jokes again and again and again. So eventually someone will shout out across to me, the cashier will say, for God, John, you ought to be on the stage, sweeping it. Things like that. Yeah, it's great. And they pay me to do it. It's like being, in Heidi High the whole time, or it really is like holiday camp, and it gets me up in the morning occasionally. It keeps the old grey cells ticking over between the left ear, the right ear, and the final front ear. May the fours be with you, sort of thing.
Nick.
So there we go. Now, sorry, I was interrupting you.
That's right. Have you got another poem, Nick, in your Yeti cups?
Yeah, I've got one more Christmas one,
Right.
which appropriately is called Blue Christmas. Eggy bread cubes, cherries in mulled wine, fresh mango dal, warm sausage rolls. Take your pick of the table to banish the blues. Brew a cup of your best tea and swoon to a crooner, or move to the rhythm of your favourite beat combo. It doesn't take much to banish the blues. Snuggle under a blanket, alone or together, out of the weather, in the warm and the dry. It doesn't take much to banish the blues. Go out for a run or walk round the park, roll out the mat and stretch out tired muscles. It doesn't take much to banish the blues. Or fill up the bathtub, light fragrant candles, indulge in some bubbles. I won't tell your wife. It doesn't take much to banish the blues. Or turn down the lights, sort through your vinyl, chill out completely and soak up the blues.
Yes. Yep. Cool. That's good.
Thank you.
Oh, it's getting a bit warm under here.
Good. Anything else? Has anyone got a final poem before we end this year?
No, just seen this one in the book. It says, is this for the children or the grown-ups? 'Tis the week before Christmas, and every night as soon as the children are snuggled up tight and have sleepily murmured their wishes and prayers, such fun as goes on in the parlour downstairs. For father, big brother and grandfather too, starting with great vigour their youth to renew. The grown-ups are having great fun. All is well, and they'll play till it's long past their hour for bed. They try to solve puzzles, and each of them enjoys the magical thrill of mechanical toys. Even mother must play with a doll that can talk, and if you assist it, it's able to walk. It's really no matter if paint may be scratched, or a cogwheel, a nut, or a bolt get detached. The grown-ups are having great fun. All is well, and the children don't know it, and Santa won't tell. Yeah.
I could bring the tone down with a
Okay.
final bit of Auden,
Right.
which is another of his limericks, and my favourite of his limericks. Said the Queen to the King, I don't frown on the fact that you choose to go down on my page on the stairs, but you will give the boy airs if you will do the job with your crown on.
Ouch. That hit rock bottom. Cool.
Yes. On that low point, shall we end the
No
engine?
point. It's an Auden classic.
Yeah, that's not a low point. It's a high point. It's a
High
high
point.
point
Okay.
at the end point. Yeah.
All right. Okay. On that high point,
It's-
Yeah, just want to treasure all year. Thank God it's near the end.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to spend these hours with you. And
and you- yes.
to think that we're not 100 miles away, we're just a flick on the screen. It's
Yeah.
great. It really is. Thank you, and
That's right. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year.
good luck
Happy
to you.
Christmas.
January.
Good
Happy New
luck.
Year.
Nearer to you.
See you January.
What is the weather like nearer the equator, by the way?
Dark and chilly.
Oh, right. My friends in Uganda,
Yeah.
because we have the 4 seasons, but they only have sort of wet season and a dry season interspersed. And so he came up with a brilliant. He said the only winter you can find on the equator is in the dictionary. That was really good.